Hi. Let me see. Oh. Hi there. Welcome to our Cancer Buddy Live. And I'm going to invite Emilee. Let me see. Let me see, where is Emilee to this group? I'm not seeing her pop up here. I'm not seeing Emilee join us yet. She's okay. Let me see. She's not with us quite yet. Anyways, we're live from CancerBuddy, our CancerBuddy app. And here we go. Let me see if Emilee's joined. There you are. Hi, Emilee.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Welcome. So excited to do our first Cancer Buddy conversations with you, starting with
Yeah,
you in our
let's do it.
series.
Yeah.
So I see there's some people that have joined, which is wonderful.
Okay.
And so to introduce you, Emilee Mort, you are 22, and we just want to speak with you a little bit about your experience being a cancer survivor, and about what you went through as a teenager, and just kind of describing your experience
Great.
a little bit and sharing it with
Yeah.
others.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. So if you kind of wanted to start kind of telling us a little bit about yourself. I know you're
Yeah,
graduating, which is exciting,
sure.
from
Yeah.
college.
So I'm graduating on Saturday from Sacramento State with my bachelor's in criminal justice. Really exciting to finally be done. But I was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia almost 3 years ago now.
Wow.
I did 3 rounds of chemotherapy, and then I went on to do a bone marrow transplant at Stanford Healthcare. Um, and I was declared in remission 3 months after that. And pretty much since then,
Incredible.
I've dealt with graft versus host disease, which
Hmm.
is the chronic illness that comes from transplants,
Just to kind
unfortunately.
of to tell
Yeah.
our audience who don't know about graft versus host, but
Mhm.
that's where your body's kind of attacking
Right.
your donor marrow.
Basically, my body is rejecting the
Hmm.
donor cells.
Yes.
Um, So yeah, and then I think about 7 months after my transplant, or after I was declared in remission, I started back at school, and I started working at a coffee shop. And basically that's been my life the past two
Yeah.
years.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
you're an
So
amazing young woman to go through all of that,
thank you.
and continue with your education and graduating, and it's incredible. When you were diagnosed, were you in your senior year of high school or in your first year of college? Tell us a little bit about where you
So
were in
I was
life.
actually, so I'm pretty young for my grade. So I was actually a sophomore in college. I
Hmm.
was going to Cosumnes River College in Sacramento. I was a student athlete. I was playing softball. I had just graduated with my associate's degree in summer of 2021. That's when I was diagnosed. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So you were in the midst of starting your going like
Right.
secondary education to
Right.
college, and
Yeah.
but it seems like you didn't really miss a beat. You were diagnosed as, a 19-year-old, and you just marched through it
Right.
and was able to continue your education, which is so commendable. I don't know how
Right.
you did that.
I know.
Was it just
I often think like how short that turnover was for me. So I was diagnosed in June of 2021.
mm-hmm.
I basically took like a year off only, and then I was back to school in fall of 2022. So it definitely was a very quick process. And I like looking back on it, I'm like, wow, like I feel like it all went by really fast.
Wow, and you look amazing, and you had an unrelated donor. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about that, because that's even, more difficult for your body and for everything that you went through, and also stressful because you have sisters and a brother, and they were not your donor.
Right.
So
Right.
were they tested
Yeah, so
first?
when I originally found out I was going to need a transplant, I have three siblings, two sisters and a brother, and all three of them were tested to see if they were a match. All three were a 50%
Mm-hmm.
match, which is like, you know, it's good, but it's not ideal. So,
Mm-hmm.
they to be the match or national, I think it's national,
Marrow donor program.
yeah,
Yep.
it's changed now, but
NMDP, but now it's Be
yes,
the Match.
NMDP. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Be the Match,
Yep.
formerly known as Be the Match. So thanks to them, my donor was found through the registry, and I actually
Wow.
recently, a few months ago, got into contact with my donor.
Wow.
She is in her 50s. She lives in Kansas City, and she has three kids herself. And it was actually, she told me that she was on the registry before I was born.
Oh,
So like
wow.
all, 20 years later was like really crazy for her. And obviously she went through the process to
Yeah.
donate to me. So I'm
That's
grateful.
amazing. It takes a very special person to put themselves into the donor registry, and then to also kind of keep, especially if somebody that was in it many, many years ago, to kind of, if they change their address or their
Right,
contact information, you really have to stay up with that. So that's a really important um, aspect to being a donor, and to kind of putting that commitment out there, is to keep yourself, updated in the registry so they can find you if there is a match. So that was really lucky that she did that, and amazing. Yeah,
extremely. Yeah.
yeah, that's really special.
Yeah.
And are you planning to get together with her and meet her?
That would be amazing. Yeah, we haven't
Mm-hmm.
really talked about any specific plans,
Mm-hmm.
but I would love to either go there or have her come closer to me. But
That
yeah,
would
that's the ideal
that
goal.
would
Yeah,
that would be really special. I know other patients that have met their donors, and it's been a really special aspect.
yeah, for
So
sure.
we didn't. I also, just to introduce myself, I'm the founder of CancerBuddy, and we met because of the app, CancerBuddy app. And my name is Christina Merrill, and I'm a social worker and worked in bone marrow transplant 35 years ago, kind of when it was a boy in the bubble situation. So
Yeah,
they've come long advances since
right.
then in
For sure.
medical care and treatment and supportive care. And now we have this great app that you've been an ambassador on. And I'm so excited and grateful to have your support, and firsthand kind of what it takes to get through cancer diagnosis and treatment,
Yeah,
and how isolating it is,
right.
especially when you're going through a transplant, and you have to be so careful because you're immunocompromised, and you're not strong during that time. You have to be so careful about being around other people.
Mhm.
So tell us a little bit about, how you navigated that time, to try to stay connected to friends, and, your support system, and kind of how Cancer Buddy has introduced you to maybe more people now, kind of in your survivorship, because it's never over. It's even almost, it's a continuation of your, experience.
Right. I think I had the best support system, like from diagnosis until today. I've had, my friends have been there, whether they can be there in person or whether they are just sending me texts. And so I feel the love. I've felt the love over the past
Mm-hmm.
few years. But I think with Cancer Buddy, or just meeting friends who have had cancer in general, but CancerBuddy is the reason that I know a lot of the people that I know
Mm-hmm.
who have had cancer who I can connect with. CancerBuddy has just been perfect for like connecting in a way. I know this like for all my cancer survivors that are watching, it's like it's just such an amazing thing to talk to someone and they understand firsthand. Like
Mm-hmm.
my friends and family are super supportive and they're you know they're I understand how you're feeling, but like to talk to someone, to talk to people who I've met through CancerBuddy has been like just another level of understanding with them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I
Yeah.
don't know how to explain it. Yeah.
But just to feel like they know what you're going through
Yeah.
or any kind of milestones, or
Right.
they know what graft versus host is,
Yeah.
or they can understand, what it was like to, you know, have, go through all this really intensive chemotherapy and what that feels like. So I think that that's so important, and it's so important to, health outcomes and like how you're experiencing life, because this will always be with you, is kind of
Right.
now shaping your life and your life, part of your life purpose and everything is to connect with other people and help
Yeah.
them through the cancer experience.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that you are, have taken this experience and now have come back to help others and to share your own personal experience, because not everybody wants to do that, but it's really great that you're doing
Yeah.
that. So, yeah, it's really great. And can you tell us kind of a little bit, to go back to your treatment, how you found your hospital and your care team?
Right. So it was fairly easy for me, mostly because so when I was diagnosed, I it was a very quick transition from I was in the ER and
Hmm.
I quickly transitioned to cancer patient chemotherapy
Wow.
treatment. So I have Kaiser as my insurance, and so
Hmm.
when I had went to the emergency room, I was at Kaiser, and basically I just transferred hospitals, and that was how I chose my treatment for chemotherapy in general.
Hmm.
But as for my bone marrow transplant, that's another thing that was pretty seamless. I know that everyone has very difficult situations when it comes to insurance and like finding a good doctor, but I honestly have been really lucky with not having to do a lot of searching for that. Um, my all my Kaiser doctors referred me to Stanford, which is like
Hmm.
the closest hospital that does it.
Right, which is an amazing hospital. So you went
It
to
is
an
amazing. Yeah,
incredible hospital. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. So I think that is something that like I try to give support to my other, my fellow cancer survivors on or cancer patients on. It's just like I don't have a lot of issues with it, thankfully, but yeah.
Wow. So that was really lucky. And did your whole family transplant with you to San Francisco to
So
support you?
yeah, yeah. So my mom was able to stay with me, so she was kind of like my roommate
Hmm.
for the 4 weeks that I was inpatient. My family did come and visit a few times, but then I also I had to. Those of you who've had transplants, or if you know about transplants, you have to, or for me at least, this is how Stanford did it. You have to live within a certain mile radius of the
Hmm.
hospital. And so my mom and I had to move to Palo Alto, where Stanford is. And
Hmm.
I received a lot of support even after I was inpatient. Like I was living in an apartment in Palo Alto, and
Hmm.
my friends and my family came to visit, and they were all really, really safe about wearing masks around me because I was severely immunocompromised. But
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. And that's really hard also for the caregiver, because you have your mom who's kind of also um, now just completely focused on you and your care, and probably felt separated from the other kids and your
yeah,
sisters and brother and dad and so forth. And so that's really hard for the whole unit. Did she go back and forth a little bit, or
yeah.
do you remember?
So
Hmm.
my mom was with me most of the time. Some of it is hard to remember
Yeah.
because of my physical state.
Yeah.
Um, my mom did go back and forth a few
Hmm.
times just to know, like sleep in her own bed for
Yeah.
every once in a
Yeah.
while. Um, but there was basically only one visitor
Hmm.
allowed in my hospital, so it was like either her or it was no one.
Hmm.
So she would try to be there as much as she could, and I'm
Yeah.
grateful for the time that she was
Yeah.
there helping
Yeah.
me out. So
That's amazing. Well, Um, I bet Mother's Day recently it's probably a special time every time, like just
Yeah,
celebrating your mom and all that
yeah,
she is to you.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, and when you like starting college or, going back to education again, how did you share your experience? It wasn't like a normal, obviously, experience that you
Right.
could get everybody to, any new friends in your life to understand. Was that challenging for you?
I think it is in general. I haven't made a ton of friends in college just because I commute and so I don't really live on campus or
Hmm.
anything. I do have a few friends that I've made at school though. And having that conversation is with anyone, including my classmates, is a difficult conversation
Hmm.
because I feel like obviously they don't understand and a lot of people have never had family or friends in that situation. So a lot of people don't know how to react. So I kind of
Yeah.
give people grace with how they react to me telling them that.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's been difficult in finding friendships that way. A lot of people are accepting and understanding of my situation, so
Hmm.
I haven't had any issues with it. But I do think like to each their own. Like if you don't want to tell your friends about it for a
Yeah.
while, that's
Yeah.
cool. Or if you want to tell them right away, that's also cool. I
Hmm.
don't think there's one way to go about it. So
Yeah. When you went back to college and class for the first time, were you still feeling really like a cancer patient, or were you starting to feel like kind of you're back to yourself a little bit more?
I think I was back to feeling myself.
Hmm.
I think I was far enough out from treatment. My hair was starting to grow back. It was still pretty short,
Hmm.
but I think also just being a student and then not everyone treating me like I was a cancer patient
Yeah.
made me feel a little bit normal. Like nobody really knew my
Yeah.
story, so that was kind
Yeah.
of a cool
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's great because I know that it's hard sometimes as friendships to
yeah,
kind of either maintain your friendships you've had for a long time
yeah,
or create new friendships. I know it's been, one of the very hard times for especially young adults to go
yeah.
through.
Hmm.
Um, and basically, but so with Cancer Buddy, and what we've tried to create at Cancer Buddy with our Cancer Buddy app is to kind of create a community where people can relate and they can relate on age and gender and um, their likes and dislikes and diagnosis and where they're geographically located
Yeah,
and all of those kind of areas of connection. And so we are just really trying to get this out there to more people to understand the importance of connection and not feeling lonely, and that there are other people going through something similar, and how the app can connect people, and eventually, you can meet in person, like you've met a few of your Cancer Buddy friends,
yeah.
and so we're just doing more of that work around that. Um, is there anything that you would like tell others, to like, what you could do to kind of use the app, or other areas there's groups and things like that? And I know you've joined the AYA group.
Yeah, yeah. I would say definitely join the groups that you feel a part
Hmm.
of. I definitely use the AYA group a lot just because I can relate to a lot of the content that people are posting in there.
Hmm.
But when it comes to like, because you can like match with people who are close of age to you, and like that way, I think it's good to like. I have like my friend Amanda. I don't know if she's still on here, but
Hmm.
I met her on there, and now like we honestly talk a lot more than I thought we would. We talk about cancer related stuff. We talk about not cancer related stuff. So I think that like there's definitely friendships that could come from it, and
Hmm.
I feel like for me like some of the things that you go through when you have cancer, like you can feel like you're all
Hmm.
alone, but when you go on there, it's like people genuinely understand firsthand what you've been through, and that's like kind of comforting. And I think that it's
Yeah.
good to meet people in any way that you can.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's great. And that's our goal here at Cancer Buddy, is to create this really strong community for people. So we're just excited to get it out so that people know about it. Um, and yeah, there's Amanda.
and
We love Amanda. Um, and Yeah, she came to New York City and I got to meet her in person with her mom twice.
Nice.
Um,
But
and of course I met you in person. So it's just like, it's really special for me as well as the kind of creator of Cancer Buddy and a social worker, and just that this community is so important to me. And I'm passionate about everybody that's in it,
yeah,
that it's so great to meet all of you in person. So, it's exciting for me as well. And I know that before we end, we also have a giveaway that
right.
that you were going to announce the winner
Mhm.
from Rising Soul Jewelry.
Yeah. Did
Yeah,
you want me to announce the winner right
yeah,
now?
yeah.
I
I
was
think
gonna
you
ask, do
can.
you want me to show the stuff that's being
Yeah,
given? I have
that
the box with me.
that'd be great.
Cool. All right, so we have the 3 pieces from Rising Soul. All 3 of these little orange ones.
Oh
My friend
wow.
who owns the company made them inspired by me because orange is the color for leukemia. So
Oh wow.
super,
The,
super cute and fun.
those are adorable.
Right?
So
Super
sweet.
fun. And then it's wrapped, but this is the candle. Um, there's that. And then there's also some CancerBuddy merch, which is awesome.
Great.
So, yeah.
Great.
And so the winner is Rachel Atkins.
Okay, yay. Great.
Congratulations.
Great. Now I know somebody also just asked a question.
Yeah.
They want to know what your diagnosis was again
Right.
and your transplant date.
Yeah, so my initial diagnosis was June 24th of 2021. Um, and my transplant date was September 29th of 2021. So very, very quickly after I was able to get my transplant, which I know everyone's not that lucky, that sometimes it's harder to find
Mm-hmm.
donors, sometimes it's just a longer chemo process.
Yep.
Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's how long it's been, and I still have checkups with my transplant doctor and stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you for answering that again.
Yeah.
And just to go back to Rising Soul Jewelry. So your friend,
Yeah.
let's hear a little bit about her for a minute and the jewelry. So
Yeah.
when did she start her jewelry company?
So I want to say 2018. I could be wrong. I don't know if she's on here or not, but I
Mm-hmm.
want to say 2018 is when she started, and she's grown so much. I think I started being friends with her like not until after my cancer diagnosis was I friends with her. But she's one of the people in my life that has been like so supportive of everything for me, and she actually like these 3 pairs of earrings are from like a line that she called Emilee Sunshine Collection.
Oh
And that was
wow.
just like so special for her to like even consider doing a
Mm-hmm.
line for me. Like
Yeah.
it was just so thoughtful and like something that I would have never expected someone to
Mm-hmm.
do. And it was really the sweetest thing that anyone has ever done for me.
Wow.
So yeah,
Wow, that's
really
really special.
and
And
appreciate her.
is
Yeah.
she in San Francisco or
No,
California?
so so I live like near Sacramento.
Okay.
And so she lives in this area as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does she sell her jewelry in different boutiques, or does she have her own
Yeah, so
store?
she does local ones.
Mm-hmm.
She does like local markets and stuff like that. She also sells a lot on her website,
Okay.
risingsoul.com. She
Okay.
also,
Great.
I'm not sure if she still has this, but she did used to have some of her jewelry in a shop in New York.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to double check the name of it. But
Okay.
yeah, so for those of you who are interested,
Yeah.
risingsoulJewelry.com, and you can also buy on her Instagram as
Mm-hmm.
well. So yeah.
Wonderful. And does she, besides earrings, does she make other pieces of jewelry as well?
Yep, she makes earrings, bracelets, necklaces. I think she's made some anklets before as well. But she
Oh,
has a lot of variety, a lot of different colors, a lot of different styles. Everything is lead and nickel free as well.
wow.
So good for sensitive skin.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Well,
yeah,
that's really, really wonderful that she is supporting you and that she offered us these beautiful pieces of jewelry to as a giveaway. So we really appreciate it.
yeah, of course.
Okay, wonderful. I don't know if there's any other questions from any of our viewers, but
Yeah,
I think I'm not sure if there are anything else, but it's been such a pleasure
yeah,
speaking with you. And it's a fun to kind of start these conversations
right.
and hearing your story. Oh, and there's your
Yeah,
cancer
so
buddy. Yep,
yeah, I'm wearing my Cancer Buddy shirt.
that's great. Thank you.
But yeah, thank you. It was a great conversation. So
Yeah.
thanks for chatting for a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's my pleasure, and thank you for all your support of Cancer Buddy
Yeah,
and the Bone Marrow and Cancer Foundation, helping so many patients in need. So we really appreciate it. So,
yeah.
o-
We appreciate
okay,
you.
okay, great. Okay, well, have a good rest of
All
your
right.
week,
You
and
too.
we'll be in touch.
All right.
Thanks, Emily.
Bye.
Bye.